Hello everyone, welcome back to another brand new YouTube videos of Minikube. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to enable Minikube dashboard, how to basically utilize Minikube dashboard to interact with your Kubernetes cluster. Like until here, we released 5 videos. All these videos actually was conducted using the CLI. So we basically used kubectl commands. But in today's video, I will be deploying using the Kubernetes dashboard. I will be using actually CLI commands to explain things time to time. But the main point of this video is to walk you through with Kubernetes dashboard. So particularly, why should you be actually using dashboard? What could you do actually with the dashboard, right? So first of all, let me show you Minikube add-ons list. In Minikube, I talked about this stuff in my previous videos. So you can see add-on, you can say plugins. This dashboard is not by default enabled. So as you can see, the dashboard is disabled and it is actually maintained by Kubernetes. So what Minikube actually did, they did integrate with Kubernetes dashboard, right? And this is what actually you could do. So Minikube add-ons enable, and if I'm saying dashboard, this is what it's going to do. So then one more thing I'm going to do later on in the videos, but not in today's videos. Let's skip this one because we are not going to talk about this. Minikube dashboard is actually enabled, as you can see. So if I'm going to run Minikube, let me clear this. Add-on list grep dashboard. This time I can see the dashboard is actually enabled, right? So now we have enabled dashboard, and before we actually jump a bit further, I'm going to tell you what could you actually do using Minikube dashboard. So this is what actually you could do. You could deploy your containerized application to your Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes cluster is basically, this is what we have. Minikube, and if I say status, as you have seen, if you've seen my previous videos, we are actually using 2 nodes Minikube cluster, okay? And these nodes are actually running on Docker container. You can troubleshoot your containerized application. Let's say something goes wrong. You could go to the dashboard. Dashboard is basically nothing, just the web interface, okay? And there you can have the holistic view, the overall view of your entire Kubernetes cluster. So you can basically see what you could see using the CLI commands, right? Then you could basically manage your Kubernetes resources. How to do that? We're gonna show it to you in a bit. First of all, I just wanted to give you an introduction. As I said, you can get overview of your application running on your Kubernetes cluster, right? And you can do a lot of things. You can create things, you can delete things, you can update things. For example, your deployments, pod services, jobs, daemon set, and whatnot. So this is what basically you can do using Kubernetes dashboard. And if you're asking me, hey, is this something you actually use at work? To be honest, I never used it, but this is good for learning. So if you're learning Kubernetes, if you're new to this, new to the realm of Kubernetes, this is a very good starting point for you, because you're gonna see from the web interface what are the things actually comes with Kubernetes dashboard. What are the things actually you could do, right? Apart from that, you could do much more. For example, scaling your deployment. You could initiate rolling update. You can restart pod, right? You could do new deployment for your application, right? Using the web interface. If you have not understood yet, it's not a problem because we're going to do the demo. So you're going to understand everything when you see the things in front of your eyes, right? So you're going to say Minikube. Let me jump into the business. Minikube dashboard, and this dashboard has couple of options. So you can see URL, display dashboard URL instead of opening a browser. By default, it is actually false. So what we're gonna do, these are the options you could actually go with. So expose port of proxy dashboard, set to 0 to pick a random port, right? So this is what we're gonna do, Minikube dashboard. And then after that, I'm going to run the command called URL that you have just seen, right? The option URL. So if I do this, let's see what happens. Look at this. This is HTTPS Kubernetes dashboard proxy. So it basically does the proxy. So what we're gonna do is basically, let's say I copy the whole thing and I go to my browser. Let me go to DuckDuckGo. Let me open up DuckDuckGo here. I open up the browser, and if I jump in here, you can see I see the dashboard of Kubernetes. And this is what actually it looks like. If you have never seen it, first time you access this dashboard, this is how it's gonna look like. So it has a couple of sections like work alerts, service, config and storage, cluster, settings. For example, here you can do a lot of things from the UI, right? So in the first place, let's try to understand the very basic stuff. So I cannot actually go through all of these because these are the basic concepts in Kubernetes. So I'm not going to talk about cron jobs, daemon sets, deployments at this point, jobs, parts. I believe that you understand some of the basics. If you do not understand, maybe you can follow along and you can Google basically what it means and things like that. Along the way, I will try to actually talk about it, but this is not the purpose of this video to go through all of this. If you need more like a longer videos, please let me know. I will try to make one for you guys. So my focus is going to be today on the deployment, parts, replica set, ingress I'm not going to talk about today. That's for the future videos, and services. Because I'm going to stick to my content, because in my previous videos, if you have seen my previous videos, all of these videos actually talked about the things I just talked about right here. So what we have done in our previous videos, don't kill this one. If you kill this one, you are not going to be able to access this dashboard anymore. So I would need one more terminal. I could create one. And if I run this command called kubectl get ports, you would see there is nothing running. And this is why when you come here, it says default. Look at this. This is something I talked about, because get namespace, this is what you're gonna see. Now you can see the Kubernetes dashboard is basically running on this particular namespace. And by default, when you log in, this is what you're gonna see. So you can see namespaces, right? And if you have different resources under different namespaces, you just need to switch, and it's gonna list all the resources that falls under particular namespaces, right? At this point, it's completely empty. There is nothing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to show you, because this is something I showed you before. So maybe this is gonna be a good starting point. So if I'm saying that, let me, instead of this, what I'm gonna do is basically here, let's say I try to do a deployment. So you're gonna click on this button, you're gonna say create. There are multiple options. You can see you can create. Let me show you. I could copy this content, and this content is actually taken from my previous video. I could do right here like this, and then I could say this is my input, and let's say you try to upload something, meaning that it's actually trying to, right now, it's actually creating the deployment. This was one option. So you could bring your own manifest file, so YAML file, and you could just copy and paste and upload it. So it's gonna create a pod. So now if I'm doing this, kubectl get pods, you're gonna see Mongo, right? This is the one actually it deployed. So if I click here, that's what exactly I'm gonna see, 99h. You're gonna see 99h, right? So that's the pod we just created. So what happens if you're not so happy about this? You could actually do a little bit more stuff here. How? You could edit this stuff. Let's say instead of, let me search replicas, I'm actually in the pod, so I would not be seeing it. If I go to deployments, I would be definitely seeing it. So I'm gonna show it to you in a second. Bear with me. Then you could delete it. So if I delete it, this pod is gonna go away, right? But see what happens. Let me do this. So let's say I deleted this pod, and if I refresh, Actually, something has happened, but you can see there is 14 seconds, meaning this pod is created 14 seconds before, is because of the deployment. Because the deployment, if you look here, we talked about one replica run all the time. So even though you kill the pod, the deployment actually knows, hey, a pod is actually deleted. I need to create one more because I have the condition I have to be running one pod at all time. So now if I'm saying 2, let's say I'm just doing the modification from right here within the UI and I update it, let's see what happens. So this time you're gonna see 2 of them. Look at this, it's saying 2, but right now one is up and running, another one is on the way. So let me go to the pod. You can see this pod is 14 seconds before it actually came, and if I'm deleting this one, it's gonna create again, because we said that 2 pods should be running at all times. So actually it started again, right? And interesting part of this one is this exec command, because normally you run this command. If you go to kubectl, then you're gonna see kubectl exec -it pod blah blah and bin bash, right? I'm not gonna show it to you here right now. I'm just focusing on the UI part. You could do this. So let's say if I do exec, right now what has happened, it actually took you to the pod that is running in our Kubernetes cluster. Now if I'm saying Mongo, you can see this gives me the version of Mongo because this pod is actually running MongoDB version 4.2. That's what I talked about in the previous videos. Let's exit. This is what happens. You basically did the exit. Look at this. So if I'm going here to the pod, I'm back to this, and I could go actually see the logs as well. Look at this. So you can see full log for this particular pod, right? This is the pod, right? Now you understand the pod part. Now you understand the options you have. You can edit, delete, exec, and logs, right? So you understand this, how easy it is. And if you need more replicas, let's say now you can see 2. And if you want to restart, if you want to scale, for example, let's say I want to scale. So desired is basically 2. Instead of 2, I'm going to say 3. Actual replicas right now is 2. You don't have to do anything. So just say desired. So if you say scale, let's see what happens. So this time you can see it has already updated to 3, right? This is what exactly you could do using the kubectl command, kubectl scale, and then you say replicas, right? Replicas 3 and deployment. This is something we talked about in our previous videos, and we're going to talk about Mongo, right? So if I was doing that, let me show it to you since I'm already here. So if I'm saying 4 this time, so this time from the command line I'm saying that, hey, give me 4 replicas, meaning that 4 pods should be running at all time. And if I come back here, you can see this is updated to 4. Excellent. Even if you go back to pods, this is what you're going to see. And if you go to replica set, this is what you're going to see as well, right? Replica set does what? So replica set basically is going to make sure that 4 replicas are running at all time. And here we are not doing anything at this point, so let's skip this because this video is going to be pretty long, so I wanted to keep it a little bit shorter and wanted to align with my previous videos so that you understand basically what I have done so far using kubectl commands, what we are doing right now using the dashboard. So the next part we want to look into is basically you can go to nodes, for example, and you can see 2 nodes, and this is what actual node list, right? This is what exactly we have seen, right? So it gives you the information about the nodes, and here you could do much more. Let's say if you want to delete the node, you could do so. If you want to edit the node and do stuff like that, there is JSON and YAML format. You can do stuff, right? Look at this. So you can modify any other things here and then just say update. As simple as that, right? So now we understand the basic part of it, And if you want to, let's say, create more nodes, you could actually do so as well. Oh, here is one thing I forgot. Now it came back here. There is one thing I didn't actually show it to you, is here. So next one is create from file. Let's say I have this file. This is from another branch. You could actually do that as well. You come to this particular location, right, wherever this file exists, and you could actually upload it. This is another way. The third way is the easiest way. So you're gonna name, like, let's say if I'm calling Nginx, I just want to fill this up and show it to you. And this is like Nginx image coming from, let's say, Nginx image, let's say coming from docker.io, right? Number of ports, how many you want, let's say 1. Service, in this case you can say internal or external. Let's say I want to say it external, and you can say the port, let's say port 9000, target port less than 9000, and this is basically TCP, right? And the other thing you could do, which namespace actually want to deploy. So this is another way of doing it. So I'm going to cancel it. You understand the concept, right? And if you are going for the advanced option, this is exactly, I'm going to show you. This is exactly you can do, like the resource limits, right? So if you look at here, it gives you the CPU requirements, memory requirements, right? You can run particular commands, whether you want to run it as a privileged one or not, and you want to run some environment variables or not. This is what all you could do using the user interface, right? So this is really super cool. You just need to fill up the information, and if you do not know how to do it, you can follow my videos as well. So these are basically filling up the information, nothing else you have to do. As simple as that. I'm not actually filling up at this point. I believe that you get the concept, and you should be able to do this because it's very basic. You just need to fill up the information, and it's nothing complex, right? So I'm not going to do that at this point. I'm going to skip. Second thing, you want to, let's say, unsaved changes. Yes, let's go ahead from here. Let's see if we have any secrets or not. Let's see if we have any, because it's basically empty, because as I said, there is nothing in our Kubernetes cluster, right? Jobs, we don't really have. Daemon sets, we don't really have anything, right? Role bindings, we don't really have anything. Roles, no, nothing. Like, it's totally empty. So now let us create a service. We have the deployment, right? And what do we want to do? We want to create a service. So for the service creation, I'm gonna go ahead the same way I did for the deployment. So I'm gonna grab this particular file, right? The manifest file that we have. After that, I'm going to paste it right here. And if I say upload, it's going to create the cluster service type cluster IP. Okay, as you can see, this is the cluster IP service type it is created. And if you want to change anything, you can always go ahead and go to this particular section, and you can just edit anything that you want. So if I run this command, let's say right here, I want to create one more dev kubectl get svc. I'm gonna see there is the service called Mongo, and it has this cluster IP, right? And this is the port. So this service is internally exposed, meaning that this service is not public. This is only accessible internally, unless you do port forwarding, some kind of networking like tunneling, for example. Alright, so we created the service, right? If you're writing this, it's gonna straight open up on your browser. If you're writing Minikube dashboard, right? This is what going to open up the proxy, and then look at this. This does it by itself. So basically accessing the service using your default browser. So this is what it looks like, because we do not have much stuff. We have a deployment, we have a pod running, and we have one replica set. And the one we are interested in right now is the service called Mongo, right? And this is the internal endpoints, and there is currently no external endpoints. And if you want to edit, you can look into this one. For example, this is a cluster type. If you want to make it to load balancer, for example, you could do that as well. So you can just say load balancer, something like this, right? If you wanna make it to node port, you can make it node port. But for us, we are fine with the cluster IP. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel this. So we have the cluster IP, meaning that the service is not going to be exposed outside of the Kubernetes cluster, right? So what we're gonna do in Minikube, you could do this. So let me open up a new tab and let's call it Minikube service list. I have showed this stuff in my previous videos, therefore I'm not gonna explain to you in details right now. So this is the one we have. So kube, cdl, get, svc, mongo, and this is what we have, as you can see, right? And this is the port in Mongo that we are using, right? So what we're gonna do this time, we're gonna run Minikube. Let me clear this up, service, and this time we're gonna call Mongo. And if we do this, you can see we are able to actually access the service. What it does, it actually, look at this. I talked about it before, starting tunnel for service Mongo. Minikube will, behind the hood, will start a tunnel so that the traffic from my computer, so I'm talking about the client, to all the way to Kubernetes cluster. Kubernetes cluster, remember, is running on a different network from my computer network, right? From here, you can see randomly it has selected a port right here, right? And it is actually, this is the address, is actually routing the traffic to and from this computer to our Kubernetes cluster. So the Kubernetes cluster is basically Minikube cluster. So this is how you can do stuff using the Kubernetes dashboard. In the future, we'll be talking more about other options as well as we progress in this series of Kubernetes videos. But for now, I'm gonna keep this video until this, and in the next, we'll be talking about something different. If you like this video and find it useful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Share the content with your friends and colleagues if this is something useful. So I will see you guys in another videos, and until then, stay tuned and cheers everyone. Bye bye.